Welcome back. Joining me now is former U.S. Attorney General under President Obama, Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good to see you.
It's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I want to start off by asking you this morning, the homepage of the group you lead, the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, says, quote, "There is no off-season in redistricting. Gerrymandering poses a critical threat to our democracy." But now you're arguing that Democrats are going to have to use gerrymandering, quote, in order to save our democracy. So let me ask you, how can gerrymandering both be a threat to democracy and also the way to save it?
Well, there's no question that gerrymandering is a threat to our democracy. It allows politicians to pick their voters as opposed to citizens choosing their representatives. But we are now in a situation where we find ourselves where authoritarian moves are being made by the White House through various states, Texas most prominent among them, and there has to be a response to that. What I've said is that we have to protect our democracy now if we ultimately want to be able to save it. And so taking the reasonable steps that have been proposed in California, I think it makes a great deal of sense in this moment, a temporary way in which to respond to that which is happening in Texas, with the thought that after this crisis has passed, we get back to the fight against gerrymandering by anybody.
Well, as you know, some of your Democratic colleagues are expressing concerns about that, including Senator Richard Blumenthal. Let me tell you what he told the Associated Press. He said, quote, "We shouldn't stoop to their tactics. It's an ideal that we have accurate and fair representation. We can't abandon it just because Republicans try to manipulate and distort it." Do Democrats run the risk of undermining the public's trust in our electoral systems by using the same tactics that you're criticizing Republicans for using?
Well, I wouldn't say that we're using the same tactics. I mean, when Barack Obama was president or when Joe Biden was president, did either of those presidents call a governor of a state or a state legislature and tell them to gerrymander, to find 5 seats for them? No. So we're doing something now that is responsive to what is going on with this White House. What that call to Texas is kind of reminiscent of the call that President Trump made to the Secretary of State in Georgia. He said, "Find me 11,780 votes." He calls Texas now and says, "Well, find me 5 seats so that we can save the House in 2026, in spite of the fact that my poll ratings are down, in spite of the fact that this big, beautiful budget bill is wildly unpopular, in spite of the fact that we've taken health care away from people, given tax breaks to billionaires." So I think we're talking about 2 fundamentally different things. If Texas had not moved in the way that they appear to be doing, California would not be doing what they're doing. What Democrats are doing is responsive and is temporary.
Well, as you know, Texas lawmakers are digging in. You heard Governor Abbott there talking about the FBI, Senator Cornyn calling the FBI to help locate those Democratic lawmakers who fled the state. I wonder, do you think that the FBI has jurisdiction to intervene here and try to bring back those Democrats who are in other states?
Short answer, no. I mean, you're asking the FBI to get involved to find these legislators who are in the process of trying to defend democracy in Texas. And they're not hard to find. But the question after that is, well, what's the federal jurisdiction? What federal statute has potentially been violated? What's the basis for any federal government interaction? And I would say that there is none.
All right. Well, I do want to shift now to another topic. This week, the House Oversight Committee issued subpoenas for you and other former officials for testimony related to the Jeffrey Epstein matter. Your deposition is actually scheduled for September 30th. I have to ask you, are you planning to comply with the subpoena?
Well, we're in the process of talking to the committee now, finding out exactly what it is that they want. Those conversations are ongoing, and we'll see how that works out.
So no definitive answer yet. In 2012, worth noting, you did actually defy a congressional subpoena. You were Attorney General at the time. You became the first Attorney General in history to be held in contempt of Congress. Do you have any regrets about that now? Is that informing your decision right now?
Well, I mean, if you look at the 2012 contempt, what I said was that we were protecting confidential information that was passed between the executive branch, between the Justice Department and the White House. And we held on to those documents. My successor, Jeff Sessions, put all those documents into the public sphere. And guess what? It showed that what I was trying to protect was in fact reflected in those documents, which was executive branch communications. So, yeah, that informs me that if there's a principle, you stand up for that principle. And if there is an inappropriate congressional action, well, you know, they do what they have to do. But as I said, we're in the process of trying to talk to them to determine what, if anything, I can help them with concerning the subject matter of the subpoena.
Let me ask you now more broadly about the FBI and DOJ. President Trump has launched investigations into many of his perceived political foes, including former President Barack Obama, New York Attorney General Letitia James, Democratic Senator Adam Schiff. I'm naming just a few of the people. You have described this as the, quote, weaponization of the Justice Department, which is, by the way, the same criticism President Trump has made about the DOJ under former President Biden. So let me ask you about that. How do you respond to the argument by President Trump that the Biden Justice Department started this?
Well, I think that's just totally inconsistent with the facts. There was a predicate for all of the things, a basis for the investigations, the moves that the Justice Department did. I would ask, you know, those who are in the Justice Department now, those who are in the White House now, because they are married, they're joined at the hip in ways that we've not seen before, where the White House is essentially telling the Justice Department with what to do with regard to its investigatory power. What, in fact, is the predicate that you are looking at? What's the basis for the investigation when you're talking about Senator Schiff, Attorney General James? Certainly, it's absurd, this notion of looking at President Obama with regard to the actions that he supposedly took. There's simply no factual basis to these investigations.
Mr. Attorney General, 1 minute left. You have said this moment is a constitutional crisis. If you believe that, do you believe there's a way forward and a way out of this moment?
Yeah, I think the way forward is through the American people. There are no saviors. The cavalry is not coming. This is up to the American people to participate in the process, obviously through the ballot box, through making their opinions known, by not supporting candidates who will stand for the kinds of things that we're seeing in Texas right now, where they're trying to cheat people of their constitutional rights, their most valuable asset, which is the right to vote. And then once this period ends, I think we have to not only rebuild, but actually reimagine the executive branch and government such that we don't have to go through this kind of period again. Maybe we have to codify norms that in the past we thought people would simply follow. So yeah, we're in a crisis right now, but there is still, I think, a basis for future hope.
All right, Mr. Holder, we covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.